Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Shero Commerce LinkedIn Live. I'm Beth Shero, the CEO and co founder of Shero Commerce. Welcome here today. I'm excited to be talking about a great topic. We invited back Jana Braswell, one of our account managers, to talk about our partnerships and how to work with an agency. Before we hop in today, I last week was invited back to the Red Hook High School with the Robo Raiders, and I was able to give a talk about design, which was a super fun topic for me. For the Girls Who Code series number 2. If you can pull up the slides quick, there were like a number of students that participated. It was a lot of fun. We talked about design careers and did a little workshop. And I even got to visit my old locker, which is always fun. So you can see me there in the picture, my high school locker. The nerd that I am, I still remember where it is. And I talked about UI UX design, and you could see all the students collaborating in the workshop that we did at the end of the lecture. And we had some winners. We focused on using typography and being creative to show an emotion or the meaning of the word through design and font weight, things of that nature. So we had a couple of top winners that the class voted on, and it was a lot of fun. So you can see some of the results there, and we'll be posting more so you can see everything that we did that day. So it was a lot of fun. And thank you for everybody that helped organize that on the Shero team. And for our topic today, we're talking about optimizing the client agency and collaboration. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. We started Shero talking, focusing on partnerships, and I want to invite Jana in to introduce herself in case you haven't met her, and then we'll kick off the topic for today. Hey, Jana, how are you doing today?
Hi, Beth. I'm good. How are you?
Good. Do you want to kick off by introducing yourself for all the people that may be new to Shero and what we're talking about today?
Yeah, absolutely. First, thanks for having me here. It's exciting to be talking with you again on a LinkedIn Live. I'm Jana Braswell, and I'm an account manager here at Shero Commerce. I have been in business-to-business relationship management for about 14 years now. And for the last 3 years, I've been working in e-commerce, which I've just found has been, it feels like home. And I've really enjoyed working at Shero in particular. So at Shero, in my role as an account manager, I really focus on exactly what we're talking about today, which is the health of our partnerships with our clients and ensuring that we are successful, but that both companies successful in partnership. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it and to talk about the things that we've learned and just some of the points that we want to share with everyone today.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. So at Shero, we started focusing on partnership. It's been a key thing of our culture. It's part of our values. And I think the reason this topic came up, to your point, is we're constantly evolving and innovating how we think about our customers and how we're successful with our customers. But it's not always just us, right? It's a really two-sided thing. It's a relationship. And I think as we have dug into some of the relationships that we have, there's some really great things happening and some things that we need to work on. And I think a lot of what we're going to talk about today also has helped us identify different things that we see that are trends, right? Like you may have never worked with an agency, or maybe you had a bad experience, or expectations that maybe are different than the way you thought they were going to be, right? Do you want to talk about any of those things that you've noticed before we kind of dive in here?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you mentioned was really key is that when an agency and a client decide to work together, it is a partnership, and it's two businesses that have to show up and find out how they're going to partner together. And from what we've found is when it's going good, it's going great, and communication is flowing, and expectations are aligned. But then when we get into misalignment, we have to take a step back and say, like, how did we get to this place? How did we get out of step with one another? And I think that's where we have kind of come up with some knowledge that we've gained through that process of like, what can we do better? We always take a look back and we try to improve what we're doing. And so, yeah, I think, setting good expectations are key. And I think that's what we have found is like the main thing that you've got to do in any client agency relationship is have your expectations aligned. But there's a number of other things that we'll talk about, I think, when we get into kind of the slides that we're going to share of some of the information that we've learned over the years working with clients. So I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was just going to say that to your point, a relationship between, an agency and a client is a unique business relationship. And I think one of the things that we've found that is unique about it is that you mentioned earlier, either companies have worked with an agency and they have previous experience that they're bringing to this partnership, or they have perceptions about agencies that kind of form their opinions about how the relationship is going to look and feel. And so I think from, a new company that's decided to work with an agency, sometimes they come into the relationship a little bit guarded.
Right.
And so we kind of have to figure out how to get past that essentially, or how to establish a level of business trust that needs to happen in order for us all to be successful. And I mean, it's understandable why, a company working with an agency would feel a little bit guarded at the very beginning. And I think that's because of the nature of working with an agency. You essentially give the agency kind of the keys.
Right.
And you decide to partner with an agency and you open the door, and essentially the agency like walks in. We kind of bypass the lobby, we bypass the conference room, we head all the way back to like the break room, and we open the fridge and start rummaging around or get into the filing cabinets. And that's just kind of, the nature of it. And I think because of that unique aspect where we have to get all the way into data and systems, and we need like a high level of access in order to do our jobs really well. We've got to have trust from day one. And so I think that's kind of something that we've learned and is really key.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that you use that metaphor about kind of going into the break room. And, I don't know if you watch Friends, but like, God forbid you ate somebody's sandwich, right? But there is this huge level of human aspect here that we're also dealing with, right? Like there's psychology and like also the state of which the other company might be in. Say there was maybe some layoffs, or you were coming in to support or take over someone's role. Or there's just like maybe bad behaviors, that they're trying to resolve, that we're trying to support certain things. Like there's just like a lot of things that you wouldn't think come up in our world that we deal with every day. Like, right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, a loaded one there. But I know that you did create some wonderful slides, and we have some good suggestions for all of these challenges, right? There is no silver bullet, but Jana has put some information together that I hope you can walk away either to think about or implement as you work with a partner in any capacity, really, right? But this is how we like to work best with our clients. Do you want to just pull up the slides quick? Here we have the first one is first time working with an agency. So we have some qualities you should look for, right?
Yeah. So this is really if you're a company and you're deciding to work with an agency, or even if you've worked with an agency before and you're looking for a new agency. These were just some qualities that we thought would be really important to be on the look for. And they're good questions to ask at the very you even become engaged with an agency to find out how they will handle these types of things. Here is a level of transparency. And I think what we have found is that, it would good to ask about being transparent. From Shero's perspective, like for example, for our ongoing services clients, we share a weekly hours report of where, hours were spent on what tasks. That way our clients can see where their budget is being, allocated in real time and make sure that that budget allocation matches priority levels. We also like to have a high level of transparency through communication channels. So that's a good one as well. We have had clients come to us and share past experiences where they worked with an agency who, kind of had their project, but their project was off running and behind the scenes, and they didn't have any access to it, and they couldn't see progress happening in real time, and they didn't feel like they were really a part of that communication. So that level of transparency also is really key, so that we can stay aligned the whole time. And then I have another example of transparency that happened fairly recently, and I'll share a story. It was, we have a client of ours who recently purchased another company. The other company was managing another website, and that website they were working with a different agency on. And just to kind of highlight the differences in transparency from agencies, the other agency asked if they could have access to the code base that we've been working on. And we, within the day, I mean, it could have been, I think it was within the hour, we said, absolutely, here's access. You can see whatever we normally see. And, it wasn't like we had to clean anything up or clean the house up before anybody came over. We're an open book. And on the flip side, our team then said, well, could we have access to their code? Take a peek and really, every line for the client who had two agencies working with them. And it took the other agency about 3 weeks to provide access to our team. And our clients definitely there. And so I think that just highlights a little bit of transparency and how important it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then there's some other things.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit, Jana. Yeah, I'm just going to hop to the next slide while it takes hopefully a second to get back together there. We also like to put together some nice, roles and responsibilities just so everybody's clear on who to go to for what. We find that pretty helpful. And it helps the client understand what they're responsible for. I don't know, Jana, is there anything you want to add to that?
Can you hear me again? I'm sorry about.
Yeah.
Okay. No, just from a company's perspective, it just helps if you find an agency who is very clear about roles and responsibilities. Just helps everyone stay into alignment. So this is kind of how we like to start out, by establishing this with our clients, but there may be other methods. It's just a good thing to note that it is key to know everyone's role and responsibility within the partnership.
Absolutely.
Another one we had was just that you find an agency who is very respectful of time. Everyone's time is money. And so, we try to do a really good job of making commitments, honoring those commitments. And then if we need to renegotiate, we do that as well. But that way, everyone has the right expectations about, making the best use of everyone's time. So that one's pretty important to us as well, when you're deciding to partner with an agency. Absolutely. And then I think the last one that we noted to be on the lookout for, a healthy agency is an agency that is ready to grow and is in a growth mode, because a lot of times our clients come to us and they're in growth mode. And so one of the ways that at Shero we prioritize growth is we have regular retrospectives where we stop and take a look back, and we are learning those lessons in real time, but also, having action items from them. Because it's one thing to say, oh, we learned something, we figured something out here. but it's a very different thing to say we learned something and we're immediately going to make it a shift. And so I think that's something to kind of, you could ask if you're partnering with a new agency, like, how do you ensure that you and your team continue to grow in real time? And I think that would be the marker of an agency that's ready to move with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I love that. We're constantly learning and growing at Shero. So, we're humans and everybody makes a mistake at some point or has some area that they can grow at. We are experts in our field, but there are skill sets that everybody has to work on, including myself. So, love getting some good feedback. And then you have here working with a new client.
Yeah, so this is kind of a little bit on the flip side. So if you're an
Right.
agency, because as you mentioned, an agency working with a company, that it's a partnership. It's a two-way street to feel balanced on both sides. So if you're an agency and you're looking for new clients, or if you're, looking to just improve your relationships with your clients, some things that you can be on the lookout for from the client side would be, are they also growth minded with goals and visions? And, are they looking to continue to get better and to grow themselves? And then another one that's been kind of big for us is their experience level versus their expectations. And the most important part about that one is, are they willing to adjust expectations as we go? Because a lot of times, even if you've worked with an agency in the past and you partner with a new agency, there's just still opportunity to grow and learn and figure out how to partner better. So
Yes. Yeah,
um, that's
absolutely.
that one's important. Then we also just kind of check in on business health, because, from an agency standpoint, whether you're an e-com agency or a marketing agency, we're providing services to our clients, but there is a limit to what we can, what we can assist with, in the way that, if the business has other issues going on that we really can't solve for them, just making sure that they are interested in their own business health. So if they've got logistics problems, do they have a plan in place to fix those, or quality issues? And basically, are they checking in on their own business health, which kind of goes along with that? Are they growth minded as well? And then dedication and ownership kind of really go hand in hand, but that's one that we have learned is really important. Are the companies that we're partnering with ready to show up and be as dedicated to the partnership as we are? And are they willing to take ownership for the things that they need to provide as part of our partnership? So those are just some areas that we can also, or any agency can also kind of be on the lookout for, to make sure that they're finding good partners as well.
Yeah, and I think a good example of another thing to think about that maybe is a bit granular, but like a thing that we've noticed is if someone has never done a migration, for example, and say we're doing a migration project, has that individual that's in charge of it done that before? If not, they may need a lot more support and education. So, support from the business to make sure they have the resources they need and the time they need to actually execute on that. And so they're focused, right? I think it's like, unfortunately, a lot of businesses that have people in those positions are spread a bit thin, and then when you have this big project going on, they're not sure where their priorities should be, and then we kind of get stuck in this limbo of like, we can only move as quick as you can, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I just think it helps too to think about when you're working with an agency or starting a new project in general, do you have the time to do it? And what support is needed to be successful, so that your team internally is set up and can feel successful to execute on that project? I don't
Yeah.
know. You have any other thoughts about that? But that feels like a big one to me. 'Cause
Yeah.
that happens so often.
It does. And that's actually kind of what the next slide, it leads into the next slide, which is to your point. We want to do as much like learning and educating at the very beginning of our partnership as possible. And
Yeah.
that helps when we find out that, a client has never worked with an agency before, or maybe they worked with an agency, but it's been 5+ years since they have.
Right.
They kind of just that re-education of how does this look and feel? How are we going to communicate really well? And so what we try to do at Shero is just start off with education, and that education both ways. We want to learn as much as we can about our clients so that we can also help them achieve all of their goals. And we feel like we understand their objectives and we're working toward them right alongside them. So when they win, we win. But at the same time, we have realized that it is really important on our side to educate our clients about how to work with us, because in some cases, it's just not knowing. It's just that
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
didn't know that they needed to show up and spend X amount of time week
Yeah.
over week managing the partnership from their side. So I think it does come down to some education right at the beginning, and expectation setting right out the gate that helps us.
Absolutely. And I think you have some additional tips for clients. Do you want to comment on any of these?
Yeah, this is really just again, when working with an agency, and these are things that we've learned and would love to pass on so that we can say, hey, ask questions of your agency. No question or no topic should be taboo. We want to be as transparent as possible, and any agency you work with, like I said earlier, they only win when you win. And so asking good questions and making sure that you're in alignment at all times, and there's no bad questions. So that's a good one. And just kind of going back to what I mentioned earlier about sharing responsibility. We work with our clients on their sites and on their marketing, but at the end of the day, our clients own their sites. And so we like to see that shared responsibility for deliverables, for timelines, for anything we're working on together. It's a key to making sure that we're successful together. And then a big one I find is just that, once the trust has been established, I do think that there is, both sides, both parties of the relationship need to put in the work to build that trust. But really, I would encourage our clients to trust any agency you work with, that they do have a level of expertise that they're bringing to the table. And not only that, but most agencies work with a wide variety of companies across lots of industries, and they are amassing that knowledge that then they can share with you and with your clients. So that goes back to ask them questions. Ask questions of, is this normal? What do you see? What are you seeing as trends? A lot of agencies are more than happy to say, yeah, let us share that information with you. And so, and then, like I've said before, agencies win when our clients win. So just understanding that we can function. I think we've talked about this, Beth, but we can function as the paramedic in an emergency situation and help you.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, so I'm gonna take over for a second. I think so. What Jana was saying is that it's much easier to be like proactive in any relationship or with your website. We even say this for development. If think of your car. If you change your oil often, your engine won't blow. But if you leave it too long, you come and then your engine's blown. It's like much harder to recover and fix that. And I think that applies in our world as well. Like it's really hard. Not that we can't fix on fire issues. It's just really much more challenging to save those situations when you're kind of brought in last minute. And then just to add to Jana's last point on here, this is a true partnership. We cannot do it without your participation. And your success is our success. So it is kind of like a marriage, a partnership for real. So yeah, I love these tips. I appreciate you putting them together, Jana. And I think we can kind of hop to some questions to wrap up here. Let's see if we have any questions. What do you think what helps the most with building trust? Because I know you talked about that a lot.
I'm not. I'm
Can you hear
good.
me?
Yeah. Can you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think one of the best things you can do to do what you say you can do. And
Oh, no, you're breaking up. I think we might have to stop. Sorry, Jenna. Okay, I'm gonna take over. Sorry about that, everybody. Jana did an amazing job. Sorry about the internet issues here today. Really appreciate you joining, Jana. We're gonna wrap up because of the internet situation here. But if you do have questions or want to learn more, we can definitely answer those questions. We have a great team of account managers that support all of our clients, and it's great to have them on our team and helping our customers grow. To wrap up today, we have an event coming May 7th, the Shopify New York City event. So if you're interested in joining us in New York City, please come join us and sign up. And I think that's a wrap for today. I'm Beth Shero. Always be learning.